to be able to see a whole lot, I don't think.
What?
All right, we're live.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's pretty good with the camera. It's kind of dark because we're out. Yeah, I don't know that's going to help at all. That's the problem with being outside is that, Anyway, hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the live. So we're doing card readings, oracle card readings, and healings if you need it. I got a hair in my mouth. Okay. And so if you want a card or you need a healing, just let us know. I think we'll be able to see you. Why is this so dark? Can I get it a light? All right. Hi, Lauren. It's Lauren, right? Yeah.
Hi, Lauren.
Howdy. So until we get more people in here, I think I want to talk a little bit about something that's come to my attention in the last week. And that's, again, discernment. And, in my first awakening, I was reading so many books. I was going to all kinds of workshops and classes and lectures, and I was doing the thing. Okay, I was doing everything because I was like an empty sponge, and I was just soaking up all this stuff. And it got to a point where I had to stop because I was being inundated by so much information. And, it was my first awakening. So, finding things out about the Bible and Jesus and the universal laws and chakras and energy and, everything. And it became too much. I became so saturated with everybody's viewpoints and perceptions and information and everything. And so I eventually had to break off and separate myself because I was believing that everybody's information was correct, even though they were contradicting one another in contrast to one another. I was still believing everything. And I really felt like I was drowning in all the stuff. And I have a friend that's going through this right now, and she was really, in it. I mean, she was just, I could feel that it was coming to an end. I could feel it because she was just so confused and not confused as to the information, but as to what to do with her own energy anymore. And because she kept getting stuff, and she's a hypersensitive empath. And so she was getting everybody's stuff, even when she wasn't open, and no amount of protection or rituals or anything was helping her. So she decided to just cut it off and leave. And so you really have to take bite size of information that you're getting. And just because someone is right for you, that they're, giving you right information and it feels good and it feels right and everything, you still have to use your discernment with you. You can't take everything that anybody says as complete truth. You have to feel it with your energy. You have to feel it with your gut, if it's meant for you. And if it is meant for you, then what do you do with it? Can they tell you that? What do you do with that information? How can you process it? How do you digest it? How do you apply it to your life? and all those things, because information is great. But if you don't know what to do with it, what good is it really? I mean, so you know this. Yay. Now what? What's the next step? Right? So, a lot of people have, so many teachings and opinions and perceptions and beliefs and everything. And that's really good. That's really fine and everything. But not everybody's 100% right 100% of the time. And so you have to give them a little bit of slack in order for you to grow within that dynamic. So if you're getting upset because, this person says that this happened and this is the way it is, and this person says the complete opposite, and this person has a combination of both of those opposing views, I mean, you really have to seek what is truth for you. What parts of those are for you, because there is no absolute answer, especially in light work. There just isn't. It's all individualistic. If I was to tell you the sky is blue, somebody might say, well, it's a specific type of blue, or it's not blue at all, but they could be colorblind. They could have a completely different perception than what blue is. They could say it's, cloudy. It could say, they can say all kinds of things. And then, of course, you have the people that are filtering that experience through you know, their human. They're not really feeling with their feelings. So they're going at it at a different angle. And all of those things up until now, okay, I wanted to make sure I was being heard. Up till now, really have to pick and choose your own truth and make it your own. That's where I think a lot of people get in trouble, is they think this person's absolutely right all the time. And so I'm going to follow that person till, whenever hell freezes over or whatever it is. But you really have to discern what is right for you and what's right for your life and your human and your spirit and your energy and all the things. Because, I think that's how cults get people in, is they prey on their vulnerabilities. And even though they may be highly intelligent people, they're being led to the Kool-Aid, and they really don't, they're listening to what's being said, and they're being kind of controlled and brainwashed into thinking that that's the absolute truth. And there is no absolute truth. There never was. And that's why we get a lot of these people that have these debates and opposing and protests and everything, saying this isn't right, this is right, and it has to be individualistic, because everybody up to this point is filtering everything through their past lives, multidimensional lives, through their human experience. How trashy is that going to be? So you can't judge somebody on their journey, because it's not meant for you to judge anyway. It's got nothing to do with you. So just take it easy, let them do what they have to do, whether it's right, wrong, or illegal. That's on them. It has nothing to do with you. So just let them dig their own hole, or have their own life, and don't be so concerned about it. But really, you have to be discerning about the information that you get, especially as a light worker, because everybody's, saying this is the answer, this is the answer, this is the truth, this is it, this is going to solve everything, and it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist as a general mass of people solution to anything. So, so that's my rant for today. I see that you're writing there, Laura, but I can't even see it. I mean, I see that there's words, but let's see. Um, Yeah. Okay. So, let's see. I don't know if there's. I guess just me, us, and Lauren right now.
Well, there were 4 people on, but it said, look,
No,
is that normal?
that's because it doesn't let you just put afternoon. You have to put in a time. So I changed it to 4, but I wasn't able to change it everywhere. I just changed it here.
Yeah.
So, Lauren, if you see anybody on Facebook or anywhere else that thinks that the live has ended, bring them on over. Because, yeah, we started later than we realized. And, well, I knew it was going to be later, but I tried to change the time and everything. So, let's see. What does this do? Share. I've shared it to everywhere but TikTok, I think. All right. Let's see. Might as well pull a card for the collective while we're sitting here. Kind of goes with what I was talking about. Heart portal, receptivity, generosity, and mistrusting. A lot of that going on right now. I've been getting little snippets on my YouTube feed about what's going on with court cases and stuff like that, political stuff. And yeah, that's, I guess that's the collective, human collective. Let's go with the spiritual, energetic collective this time. Cards. I don't know that I care about the human collective at this point.
I don't know what this means. I got collective. I'm going to just do the collective also. Galactic mushroom. This is number 24, and it says the divine matrix. I have no idea. I don't think I've ever pulled that card before. Oh.
Ooh, this isn't any better. For the spiritual collective.
The divine matrix. Do you mind if I go ahead?
No, go ahead.
The intricate complexity of life. The matrix of consciousness called Source or God, Elio, Spirit, and many other names is intricately woven into life. There is so much complexity that the human mind cannot comprehend all the moving parts. It's impossible to see beyond what you already know, just as the head of a mushroom is clearly visible above the soil, but not the living biome below. The thread-like mycelium of fungi form vast, intricate networks underground, connecting different life forms with one another in a kind of internet of the plant kingdom. Imagine the divine matrix serving the same way, connecting the individual consciousness with that of the divine. Your most beautiful results are being birthed right now, not just for you, but for the highest good of all. The galactic mushroom reminds you that your dreams and desires are heard by the divine. This is a call for faith and trust. Whatever intention you hold consistently with hope and faith first manifests in the unseen realms. Whether or not you can see it working on your behalf eventually You see the evidence play out in these serendipitous events that work in your favor, seemingly outside of the law of cause and effect. So that was a good
Wow.
general collective reading.
Yeah. I keep getting trashy cards for the collective reading. I got another one here, forgiveness. Everybody forgive yourselves.
Well, that's important.
Yeah, it is.
Don't beat yourself up.
I don't understand how it's applied to the collective, though.
Well, because there's negative and positive, right?
Right.
So it takes time to forgive it, for me anyway.
Rebirth, regeneration. Yeah.
I always come around, though. I mean, I do. I know myself. It takes me off to really process it.
Yeah.
You know, and things.
No, we're not gonna be on Facebook. The announcement was on Facebook, but it was leading everybody here. So people complain too much. Well, of course. They're in contrast and resisting what is. You know, so of course they're going to complain. Yep. I don't see that stopping. It may curb a little bit, but I don't think it's going to stop. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can. Somebody on Messenger is trying to find us. Nope. Okay. Yeah. Forgiveness is really is important because it can be magical in your life if you really get down to the real forgiveness, the meat of the forgiveness, and forgive yourself first for blaming anyone in the first place, but forgive the others too. It's always important. Doesn't make what they did right, wrong, or whatever. It just means that you want to have your own peace. But a lot of people struggle with that because, people have been abused or attacked or traumatized. And so a lot of people have a really hard time with forgiving. How could they do that to me? I was so young, or I was vulnerable, or, those kind of things. And it's hard to rationalize and try and help people in those stages of their human experience. But we have to always remember that it's just a human experience. This is just in the scope of things, it's nothing. This lifetime, other lifetimes have all just been a blink of the eye. And yeah. So again, discernment. Take that with what you will. I don't have the answers, all of them. I have what I feel is truth. So, but I do know that basically on the base level, forgiveness is hard for a lot of people because we are stuck in the old paradigm of an eye for an eye and all that good stuff. So. Yeah. Thank you, airplanes. Can you tell I'm on the flight path to Orange County Airport? We wanted to come outside, but doing that, we're going to be dealing with, competing with dogs and planes and cars and outdoor noises. But that's okay, because then we do occasionally get the birds and stuff. So. All right, so let's see. All right, well, want to call it time of death? What time is it anyway? Only 3:30.
I'm sure you've talked about this before, but how did you get, like you said, you've been seeing and doing things spiritually and psychically since you were young?
Uh-huh.
How old?
Probably around 5 is when I started seeing shadow people on my wall. And then after that, I thought all those kind of things were, everybody was saying it. Everybody was experiencing it. It wasn't until I had my first friend who lived down the block from me that let me know, I ain't normal at all. And then her sister, who was practicing witchcraft at the time, I didn't know that, said that that it could be a bad thing, that there's shadow people on my wall because they don't know what shadow people are. But they never hurt me, never gave me nightmares or anything like that. So I just felt they were kind of neutral, so I didn't really give it much thought. And then it wasn't until way later that I realized that people were really upset and scared of shadow people because they didn't know what they were. They just saw black shadow in the shape of a person, and sometimes they wear a hat. Sometimes they didn't. I'm like, mine never wore a hat. So I couldn't tell you where he's from, but yeah, and I know that when I was really young, Mother Mary came to my room, and being Christian, raised Christian, I was so little at the time, I wouldn't have known that was her or who it was.
Yeah.
I just knew it was somebody that wasn't a family or a friend. I just knew that because she just kind of appeared and then she was gone, kind of thing.
Did she say anything to you, or?
It wasn't really a verbal,
yeah.
It was more of a telepathic and emotional kind of thing. It was like she was getting me ready for the shit show that was going to be my life. Well, at least my childhood, because my childhood was, even though it was good in a lot of senses, there was some trauma there, and so I think she was just giving me a lot of love and support and compassion and that kind of thing, because it made me feel really good after she was gone. And even though some of those things hurt and were sad, I feel like she gave me some kind of um, I don't know if you want to say a shield against a lot of the harshness of it. So, um, and then when I got older, went through puberty and all that stuff, I feel like it had um, diminished somewhat. So, um, I still feel blessed by the experience, but it let me have my human experience the way that it's supposed to. I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, yeah. So that and um, I would. There's a mosquito. I would. I don't know what you would. I guess you call it astral travel, or I would be sleeping in one part of the house, and I would be aware of a conversation that was going on in the other part of the house. So I would wake up and I would come and join that conversation, and they're like, "How do you know what we're talking about?"
Right.
And I said, "Well, I don't know. I just know. I just I heard you guys talking about it. Well, how could you hear all the way to the back of the house?" And I'm like, I don't know. All I know is I'm here now. Can we talk about it? Kind of thing. And they just thought I was kind of weird. And talking in circles, they called it. They said I was talking in circles, which I never really understood how that was talking in circles. But that's what they were telling me. And so, yeah, they kind of made me feel stupid and weird and, you know, try to minimize my abilities, my experience and everything. But I really didn't give too much credit to them because I kind of had a sense that they didn't know what the hell they were talking about. And not that they were wrong and I was right. It's just my own truth and they had their own truth. And that's how I kind of looked at it is, but it just kind of snowballed into not believing and only believing when it was convenient and was being accepted by others and not when it wasn't. And it was very confusing to me, because it was like I was supposed to be a chameleon when people were talking about it and they were supportive of it, then I was supposed to join in. And when they were doing the opposite, I was supposed to shut up. So it was really, you know, really weird. It put me in a really weird place and I didn't like it. So um, it wasn't until my first awakening that I finally realized that, you know, um, I
Well,
just
are
needed to
you
be my
talking
own
about
person.
your parents and your family then? Is
Yeah,
that what-
yeah.
Okay, so I thought your mother also was
Yeah,
able-
she is, but she's the one that would always
Why
go
do you
with
know why
with the
she
flow.
did that though? Do you have
To
any
be
idea?
accepted.
Okay, so she
Because
was just,
everything
like,
was about
protecting you actually.
reputation and how you were
Okay.
viewed by others and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So if
society.
she looked like a crazy nut, then that wouldn't be good for her reputation and friend circles and all that good stuff. And but my grandma, on the other hand, um, she's the one that actually nurtured and kind of helped me in that area. She was a medium herself. She knew a lot about energy and how to use it and manipulate it, or not really manipulate, but use it to her advantage. And so she would teach me different kinds of games to play and um, start visualizing. And she knew what was happening when I would walk, when I would be at a nap and then come in and join the conversation. She knew what that was, but nobody else really wanted to address the elephant in the room, so to speak. So, yeah,
It was kind of a taboo thing to do.
yeah,
When you
yeah,
got singled out,
yeah.
ostracized.
Well, and to make you feel stupid for, even thinking that you have the power to do that, which a lot of, growing up in those decades, that era was really, Bible this, mass perception that, everything had to fit into a box. If you weren't in the box, you weren't accepted, you were an outcast, you were ignored, you weren't validated, and that was the big thing, was being validated by everybody. And I really didn't feel I needed to be validated by anybody. And so that made me kind of an outcast as far as um, what I was willing to accept from people, as far as my abilities were concerned. If they didn't like me because they just didn't like my personality or whatever, then that, I didn't care about that much either. But it took me a while to get there because I was raised with that, and so it really became hard for me when trying to stay within my energetic spiritual self and having this secular human linear thinking church thinking
The dogma.
that was very limiting and not a lot about love, but about you need to do this and not this, not this, not this, not this, and had very little to do with love, which was, the basis of all teachings, basically. But they put on all these regulations and rules and everything, and it all just confused me, So I went through a really rough time and was suicidal and you know all those things. And it wasn't until my first awakening that it all clicked, and I was like, eureka. It was like, and now I understand, now I get it, now I don't need to care what other people do, say, or think about me and my abilities and my life. And that was pretty much it, and it was so empowering. I didn't have to believe in the biblical teachings anymore. I didn't have to do that. What I came away with from the biblical teachings is love. That's it. No requirements, no rules, just love. No judging, no damnation, no hell, no any of that. Just accepting myself for who I am and love myself as I am. I am that I am. It pretty much tells it. I am that I am not a practicing Christian and believing in the Bible stories and, all that stuff, which, is confusing to most people because the Bible is full of contradictions and nobody cares to explain any of it. They just want you to swallow it and be okay with it,
Right.
and I wasn't okay with a lot of it. So, um, but my first awakening really woke me up to myself. It really cracked me open, and kind of my old self died, and I was reborn into this new energy that felt right for me. Didn't have to be right for anybody else because I wasn't living my life for anybody else anymore. Because that's basically what you were doing. You're living your life so everybody else would be happy with,
Mm-hmm.
how you fit into their box of acceptability. And with the awakening, I realized that I didn't have to do any of that. It was all just an illusion. It was all just a game. So, and once I had my awakening, I broke those chains and got all of that energy out. Um, my abilities just rocketed. I mean, they were good before, but I mean, it was just amazing to me how strong and powerful they were. that sometimes it almost scared me because it was just like I shouldn't be able to do this. You know, I shouldn't be able to do these things, you know, because I could touch things and I could read them. I could tell you who owned it, how they got it, and how they died,
Wow.
you know, and that was
How old were you?
I was in my mid to late 20s when I had my first awakening. So psychometry was my go-to. That was my strongest ability at that time. I always wanted clairvoyance, not knowing that I already had it. But you know, because of movies and TVs and books and the drama of what that is and looks like, feels like, and experience, I was expecting something completely different. I was expecting it to be, you know, explosive. And, you know, when I experienced angels, I was expecting it to be, you know, a kick in the head and, you know, light and music and all the things. But it wasn't. It wasn't like that at all. You know, it was very subtle. It was very organic. It was very loving. And it wasn't, you know, a big epic experience. It was epic to me, but it
Right.
wasn't epic in proportions to what you see in the movies and TV and stuff.
Yes.
So I think once people get past what they've learned from media as far as these kind of experiences, I think they'll be open to more, accepting more, because they're expecting, you know, things to fall out of the sky and just, you know, land on their head and, you know, be light and music and thunder and light.
Well,
you know,
things like that do happen right in front of you. Not to everyone.
No,
And
yeah, they do happen,
it's like
but it's very rare.
One of the things that I could always tell this one reader, she was really getting, you know, I can tell when somebody really is getting information from the other side, their guides, whatever. And I kept, every time I would watch her, I'd be like, who is she? Who is she? I can't really say who she is, but one of the things she finally told everyone in one of her readings was that Archangel Michael appeared to her in her living room, full body person. And, you know, that I could tell there's something, she's something else. She, in the spirit world, she's something else, you know.
Yeah.
And I found out, you know, who she really is, but it was stuff like that does happen. And I know for me, the things that have happened that have been physical, part of it is, you know, Eric,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, I get a lot of things. Like one time they worked on my body for an hour and it was so physical. It's nothing I could have ever done to myself. I don't have muscles where they did what they did. You know, and I keep having that. And when I first had that magnetic pull inward on my solar plexus, I'm like, what was that?
Yeah.
And it was Eric.
Yeah.
You know, and then later on it was other beings, and then you know, other people that have lived on Earth, and like when, you know, it's amazing. It's nothing that I can do actually myself on my own. You know, it's something that I always say, okay, by the strength, I know who it is most of the time.
Yeah.
So, and I know I haven't spoken about this, but the one of the beings that comes to me is actually one of my twin flames. And, you know, it's pretty incredible to know when he's there and, you know, start a conversation, and, you know, and it's times when I ask him and then it'll happen. Yeah. And then I told you about that time that my friend came after he died, and it was like 2 books on me for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, so that does happen. I mean, that wasn't like right in front of me. That was absolutely physical.
Yeah.
So, you know, it does happen. It's just, and I really, it's something you never forget,
No.
you know. And I have a lot of gratitude for it. So,
Yeah. Well, to be clear, things, you know, there are people that will have those TV like experiences, but it's very rare that you hear about those kind of things. I mean, and I don't want to discount anybody's experience of them having those kind of experiences, which is great for them. But for me, it's always been very subtle. It's very gentle. It's very organic. It feels very organic. It doesn't feel otherworldly. In other words, it feels like my energetic family. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like cousin whoever, cousin Metatron. Come on in, have some biscuits. You know what I mean? It just it resonates so well within my soul that it doesn't feel otherworldly. It just feels very organic. It feels like my family is my support system. You know, my angels, my ascended masters, all the animals, everybody. You know, so somebody that needs to wake up. Um, you know, obviously there's been some kind of plan to have an epic experience, but you know, it's very, very rare. And a lot of the time when people talk about those kind of experiences, a lot of people just don't believe them because it's so fantastic. You know, it's just incredible. So they have to go by, is a person mentally ill? Does this person have a degree? Are they, you know, are they credible? You know, for some reason, if they are intelligent, scientifically, academically, somehow that's some kind of a clout card, you know,
well,
to
it
having you
seems to add
believe them.
validity,
Yeah, yeah.
to what they're
And,
saying. But
and I think for me, those are the people that I least believe.
I don't know when, you know,
I would have, like I said before, discernment. I would have to feel, as they told me about their experience, in my energy, see if it resonates or if I get a pullback saying something's wrong. Something's wrong here, you know. But I would never discount their experience because, you know, somebody will say, "Well, I spent the morning talking to Jesus." Good, yay. You know that. I'm not going to tell you that you didn't. You know, because I wasn't there. And whether I believe you or not is another thing. But it's not a judging thing. It's just if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. You know, what am I supposed to do with your experience? Am I supposed to write a book about your experience? I don't think so. So it's fine that you're having it. And I love that you're having it and whatever that means to you. But for me, I don't have anything to say about it. It's not a judgment. It's not, you know, I'm just kind of neutral on it, you know, but I don't want to discount anybody else's experience because I know that was done to me growing up and it kind of injures you. You know, it injures your soul. It injures your trust in someone. So yeah, I would never discount it. Somebody said they were talking to Jesus while eating jelly donuts. That's what it was.
right,
That's what it was,
their
and that's
experience.
their experience. And I, you know, whatever. You know, I have nothing to do with that. It's got nothing to do with me. You know, it's fine. If Jesus liked jelly donuts, right on. You know, and so when I started accepting that I was clairvoyant, that made a whole another sense of myself, and that was during my second awakening. Then I even realized that I was already clairvoyant, and that it isn't like the ghost whisperer, or you know, for me it isn't. It's quite different. It's like in my mind's eye, I'm seeing a projection and then it projects back. and so I can see movement, I can see facial expressions if I choose to have a human appearance, because a lot of the time I don't put a human experience or shape to them because they're not human anymore. They're energy. So sometimes I'll just see energy, but I'll know who it is. I can feel their energy. I don't need them to look like they did when they were in their human form. So, um, that it all depends on what that experience. If it's just a reading for me, if I'm just trying to figure it out, then it's usually just energy. But if I'm reading for someone else, they need to know about, their hair color, their eye color, the clothes that they wore, their death experience, their human experience. They need to know those details. So, yeah, so it's different. Right. And, and to be clear, you want to be supportive, but it doesn't mean you have to completely ride that horse. You know what I mean? Do what you feel led to do about that. If my friend said that she ate jelly donuts with Jesus, I'm going to say, cool. That's great. Yeah. That's it is what it is, and I would never discount anybody's experience because of my own experience of being discounted and felt made to feel stupid and not empowered by my own energetic spiritual experience. So yeah, I may not get on that horse with you, but I'll watch you ride. you know, I'm right there with you. So, yeah. But, the whole clairvoyant thing, uh, I don't want to say I was disappointed. It was just not what I was expecting. In that sense, I guess I was kind of disappointed because I was expecting it to be like the Ghost Whisperer and what's that other show with Arquette in it?
Yes, I know exactly which
Medium.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alison Dubois.
Yeah, Alison Dubois. She rocks. I love that lady. But
well, go ahead. Sorry.
I was expecting it to be like that, where how she has instructed those people on that show to actualize her experiences with how she sees spirit. Different people see different things in different ways. Some people see them as they are, like they were human. Some see them transparent. Some see them as light. Some see them, there's so many different ways that people see spirit and angels and ascended masters that, am I here to say that, angels can only wear robes? No, they don't have to wear anything because they're not human anymore. They don't have to wear anything. They can just be a puff of smoke for all, for all it matters to me. They come as you feel comfortable most of the time until you tell them different. If you have always visualized a biblical angel where they wear the robes and Roman attire and have arrows or whatever it is, swords, whatever, then they'll appear to you in the way that they know that you will accept them and feel comfortable with. And unless you have more information and decide, well, maybe I want to see you as mushrooms, maybe I want to see you as little orbs,
and they would be fine with that.
Yeah, they can do anything, because they're not limited to anything.
I think it's what we feel. They try to do things like, okay, I was 17 when I saw the council, where you make your contract, coming into the world with them. And, it was a big, long, brown wooden table. And it had like 15 men on each side with brown robes on, white hair, about to here. And they were talking to me, and it was, I think they let me see them that way because I could relate to that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was like one of my very first, like, I had no idea, like, that was really incredible. I mean, throughout my life, I've known things when I've been in a room with someone, or I'm standing next to someone, like in a line at a store or a bank or something, or I'll just get a random message that, and when I was younger, it was like, why would I be thinking that? Well, it was being channeled to me, things I couldn't make sense of, and now I see, looking back, that it was really that I was picking up on, information through the energy field, and with my energy accepting it. So, for me, I think that's what they do, because when I do have my guide brings in people, in the beginning, they wouldn't show me their face. They would show me what their body type looked like, and the length of their hair and the color of it, and what they were wearing. Because a lot of the times with me, they'll show me things like the types of shoes they wore, or their attire. What. Yeah. That's how the other person that I'm doing a reading on can recognize them. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's my aunt, or that's my grandmother, or that's my mother. So, it's basically done for us. It's been very interesting. Like I did a reading the other night, and when this person comes into me, they come in really hard. I can't even stand up. I have to actually sit down to do the reading, and this time was pretty strong, but he knew, because he'd heard me say that already at least 2 or 3 times. So, he knew to control the energy better with me. But when he really wanted to come through to speak to his loved one, he's super, super strong. And I'm serious. I could not. It's that magnetic pull.
Oh, yeah.
It literally takes my breath away.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm picturing him and my guide, because I know what my guide looks like. I know who it is, sitting next to each other, because he will bring them in. And I don't know why one of them, and actually both of them, had flannel shirts on, the one with the big red and black check with khaki pants, and maybe to represent their, for me, it's laid back, don't be nervous, but yeah, because I asked the person I was reading for, I said, is that the way this person used to dress? And she was saying, absolutely not. He was, white collar, blue collar, he had an office job, and I can't imagine that he would be wearing those clothes. So that's when I realized they're doing that for the reader a lot of the times.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's it basically for me in a nutshell.
How you doing, Lauren?
Well, there's a lot of information about angels, and one I feel is really out there, as far as there is an opinion that all angels are aliens. Now take that with what you will. But when I interact with my angels and I interact with my galactics, they're completely different vibration for me, a different frequency. So for that person or those people that are spreading that news, you really have to check in with your belief and your faith and what you are willing to accept, because for me that's just not the case. I feel them very differently. They come into me differently. They give me different kinds of messages. They have a whole completely different feel for me, and I've been experiencing my angels longer than I have the galactics, at least that I am aware of. Anyway, I'm sure they've always been there, but I've never, I'm sure I was too young to understand, if a galactic came up to me and, was, you know, it would be weird, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why they didn't come to me earlier on, but they're here now. So thank you. But, I just, I don't know if I can totally get behind that for me. For me, in my experience, it's completely different energy. So that's that. How do you feel about angels being aliens?
I think it's a possibility. I like to keep an open mind about it, because I know when they come to me. I can feel them, I can sense it, and I actually call on some of them.
Yeah.
And then when I ask them to do automatic writing with me, they're so fast. I cannot write fast enough. I have to ask them to slow down. They're very rapid.
Yeah.
And to me, their energy is this way. And then, humans, the energy goes this way. And when I'm healing people, and the galactics will sometimes ask me to ask the person to lay down so that they can send the energy through their body better,
Right.
more effectively.
Yeah.
So I think anything's possible, and I think from what I've channeled in groups, and the people have channeled in groups, for over the last 3 years, 4 years. They are the ones that made sure we had the technology to communicate with everyone worldwide by giving us the information of cell phones and computers.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah, I believe it's possible, because
Well, yeah, a lot of things are possible.
I've been shown in my mind's eye, like, some of the galactics, what they look like, and it's very interesting. And I was shown one of them that is in my soul family, and that was very interesting.
Yeah.
What she looked like and everything. It was really, and I still, and I see her, and I talk to her, and that was incredible. That was really incredible.
Mm.
So, and yeah, so yeah.
So,
I just want to say
I don't say that they're not possible. It's being presented as, if you don't believe it, you're kind of an idiot, kind of way of presenting that information. And I tend to shut down when I hear that kind of stuff, because there is no definitive answers for the masses. There's only individualistic, and it's all subjective. So, because we're all filtering it through all our lifetimes and our human experience at this point, and um, I get a major pullback on it for me and my experiences, as far as the energy and the frequency that they communicate with me on is completely different. And, but like I said, I will never invalidate somebody else's belief or experience that they have with that kind of thing. That's not meant for me.
I
I still love you anyway.
No, I just know that for me, it's been physical, and it's been in a group of people where each one of us has been able to, in some way, feel it.
Yeah.
And they're very, very rapid. Like when we would do meetings and ask them to come in, the one thing that would, like, it would really alter my throat. My throat, I can't even explain. My throat became like, silly putty, how,
Yeah.
okay, when you pull it and it's real like plasticine. And
Yeah.
that's actually the closest thing I can describe. And it happens very rapidly. And then every time I ask this very same being to please come to me, channel. I was trying to channel her. I knew she was with me because of that.
Yeah.
And it's so, she's the only one that has happened with, as far as my actual, like my chakras, I guess.
Right.
Because that's one of the things that's, my throat has gotten better, actually. They've been trying to heal it.
Well, for me, when angels come, it feels very gentle, except for Metatron. He feels like a plane is ready to land on my head. But generally, angels are very soft and gentle, but very loving and compassionate, where the galactics feel more intellectual. They're more methodical.
Get the job done.
Yeah, they're very, straightforward, no fluff. Not that the angels have fluff, it's just that they come from a different energy. That's why I say their frequency, their energy is so different, because it's coming from a different aspect. As far as my body and my experiences have dictated to me. So, yeah. Have you ever had a negative spirit, just a spirit, not ascended master or anything like that, come to you? And what did that feel like?
I can tell. If it's someone I lived on Earth with, that I really don't want their energy around me, I can tell. And that's when I ask for help. And first I ask them to leave, and that they're not allowed in my energy or to communicate with me. And it's recurring with this one. And then I have to bring in the galactics, and they seem to help a lot. But this one being is very pushy. So, he'll be gone. That tries to that he wants to communicate with me. He's even talking about it. I shouldn't, but I am. But he's very, very insistent and stubborn. Like I was telling you when I was speaking with, Jonathan through Elaine. He just really pushes his way through there. So I asked the galactics to help, because I know they can do that, and they're very rapid, and they then put more protection around me, and I ask for it too. So it's not that it's a negative person, but I can tell, because the energy doesn't match.
Yeah.
And my own intuition is warning me.
Yeah. It's like danger.
Yeah. I mean, it's a relative that was here on Earth.
Yeah.
But and then I can sense when other energies that are positive, they're trying to reach me. And there's one right now where the other night I know that this person was trying to reach me, and because the face kept flashing in my head, plus There was this huge yellow eye, huge, like that's all that I saw coming towards me.
Oh.
And I know this person's energy is the color yellow. So I knew who it was. And I was trying to communicate with this person, and we couldn't really get on the same page. But I know that I believe that he was trying to communicate with me. But I really think that my guides helped me a lot. And I know that they really have told me that this person needs to practice, and he's getting pretty good. And they explained to me who he was in past lives, and it's like if he knew who he was, I can't imagine what he would be able to do.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah. Definitely. Well, I've had different experiences with lower energies, and for me, they've been basically pretty easy to get rid of. I mean, I've talked to people that have had experiences, and sometimes they go on for months not being able to get rid of these things. And I'm like, I don't understand what you're doing, but I don't discount, I'm not invalidating. I just don't understand how they're not listening. You know, I talk to them out loud. I talk to them telepathically. And then, I try to figure out if they're being stubborn or if they are willing to go, if they want to go into the light, do they want to go somewhere else, whatever.
you mean they're earthbound? So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So I have my spirit team take care of it, or I blast them with source light. Nothing left after because
Try
some
the
of them are
galactic.
some of them are so stubborn because the human personality survives death. So but only for a length of time, and of course in spirit there is no time. So for us it could be decades. For us it could be a year. It all depends on what their growth is as far as them being in spirit. But I've had relatives that I really don't care to talk to come to me, and uh, they acted like they weren't going to leave at first, but they did because they weren't really that great or a part of my life to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So why now? I don't. Yeah, go away. Some people say, "Oh, but they're your loved one, they're your family." I'm like, no, no, no. That was the human experience. It doesn't mean that I'm attached to that person's soul. That was something else. That's something else. Just because they're their family now doesn't mean that you have a forever eternity connection to that energy. It can be, but it's not always. And some people seem to think that they're some kind of soulmate or soul family or something like that, and it's not always like that. Sometimes it is, but it's not always like that. So,
and you have the choice to choose.
Yeah. So, but I haven't had, I think my second awakening, I was still living in Belgium, and there was somebody throwing shit in my bathroom, and so I had people that early on, kind of look into it for me, and they said that it was an earthbound spirit, and they didn't understand where they were because they didn't accept that they were dead.
Yes.
So they were pissed off and trying to get my attention, thinking that that I see them. I could hear them, but I didn't see them at that point. And so with that person and me, we did some smudging, we did some prayer, we did some protection prayers and stuff like that, and that stopped. But,
that's good. It sounds like you helped them.
Yeah, I don't know where they went, but they weren't in my bathroom anymore. So that was a good thing. But yeah, so just, a lot of people, they get so upset when, things start happening in their house. Things are being thrown, or they get scratched, or they're having night paralysis, or stuff like that. And sometimes that's warranted. But if you were in a spirit and you're trying to communicate with somebody who was living and you didn't understand that relationship, what would that look like? Would you not throw something and say, hey, I'm here?
Yeah.
I'm going to touch you. And maybe it turns into a scratch. Maybe they meant to scratch you to get your attention.
Yeah.
But a lot of people seem to think, oh my God, it's a demon. Oh my God, it's Satan. Oh my God, it's the devil. Oh my God. So they're calling paranormal investigators. They're calling the church.
Well,
they're calling everybody in.
One of my children would see people, and when she was younger, and she'd always call me in to get rid of them, and it never failed. Every time I would go across her door, the threshold of her door, it would be so cold, and then I'd have to ask them to leave, and they'd leave.
Yeah, a lot of them would, but sometimes they have a message or they have an axe to grind about something, because if they don't understand, if their death was so sudden that it propelled them out of their body without them preparing for that, sometimes they get into this thing where they're still in their death state. They're still in their human condition, or at least they feel they are. They're not. So sometimes when things go wonky in your house, just try to have a conversation with it. Just try to figure out if it feels bad, if it, if it starts stinking like rotten eggs, it's probably not a good sign.
Well, I haven't heard that.
Right?
That's yeah,
but it's perfume, pipe smoke, tobacco, different kinds of smells that may be strong and may be offensive to you, but not in a general sense that you're thinking the gates of hell are going to open in your closet. Those are also ways of spirit getting your attention. Pennies, feathers, objects that have been lost for years are sitting on your dining room table now for whatever reason. They're all just trying to get in contact. Just as much as we are trying to contact them, they're trying to contact us, especially the ones that don't understand what the hell's happening to them, which, is rare, but it does happen. So next time things are going wonky in your house, don't automatically think that it's a demon or an evil spirit. Just try to communicate with it, and if once you've established what it is, if it's earthbound, if they can give you some kind of proof, whether it's in your dream or some kind of a newspaper clipping shows up somewhere, or a news item or a song or something that will connect that experience into the real world, then you have to go from that point forward. You can offer to send them into the light or send them somewhere else. That's basically what you can do. And then if you can't do that yourself, then call somebody in and have them do it for you. But don't use the Ouija board. Don't use spirit boards, okay? Unless you know how to use them. There's rules, okay? You can't just do this and expect it gonna turn out okay. Because you're opening a doorway and there is shit on the other side of that doorway that's just dying to get in here and just raise hell with you. So be careful. Say your protection prayer, say intention, and all the other rules. Don't take your hand off the planchette. Don't end the session without saying goodbye. That kind of stuff. There's a good way to do it, and there's a ridiculous way. And a lot of people that are having bad experiences are doing it wrong. And uh, I don't think it should be sold as a toy.
I
I
did
think
the
it should
Ouija board.
only be in crystal shops.
Yes, I did the Ouija board when I was 12 with about 3 other girls on like a sleepover thing, and
Uh-huh.
never again.
No.
I was picking up stuff, and they like it was. I could feel it. Whoa, not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Because unless you have an intention, I mean, you're just allowing anything to come in. I mean, if you have
Well, I think
if
they
you
use
have
that.
supervision and you could, just visualize what's around you and you can see uh, other spirit, just, how many otherworldly spirits there are. I mean, it would be almost impossible not to have them around. As many deaths that there are and how many earthbound there are compared to ones that are on the other side and ones that are trying to get in here to raise hell. And because I don't know why they're bored, I don't know. They're in a place that they could have anything they want, but they want to come and dick with you. I don't know why. I don't have all the answers, but
Well, you don't always, like I always used to think, oh, when you die, you see how wonderful it is on the other side, and you have such reverence for the sacredness of life and God,
yeah. But I think
that
a
that's
lot-
not true. You stay the same, and then you choose to change from what I've learned and what I believe is from you take classes over there, you learn from other people, your guides, and you have to make that choice, and you have to ask. They don't push anything on you, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't believe. Well, some things they do just because of some. Anyway, I won't talk about that. But when you first go over, they want you to heal first. That's very important because this life on Earth, for many most people, they've gone through trauma. So they spend time healing.
Yeah. Well, I think also it depends on what your belief system is when you're human and you cross. If you believe in hell, that's where you're going. You make that reality for yourself. And is there somebody that's going to show you that it's all bullshit? Maybe. I would like to think somebody does. Somebody in charge over there. Tour guide, please. But why these spirits are hanging out waiting for you to use a Ouija board, do a seance, scry, anything that calls in spirit, you have to be really clear on your intention. Really clear. You can't just go to a haunted house and expect that it's going to turn out okay. Just, don't expect that. But, like I said, you have to do it smart, because it can really mess with your life, your human and your spiritual soul. So it really behooves you to take the precautions and do it smart, to speak. So helicopter. So so just
It's interesting because you hear both things. Like when I watch, of course, when I'm on YouTube and I watch, I was sent to hell, and this is what happened. Then you read the next one. I was told there is no hell. But it's really like what I found with most of them, what they believed before they passed on.
Yeah.
That's in their consciousness.
Yeah. Well, even, channeled works because, I read the book Mother's Messages to the World through Annie Kirkwood. And according to Mother Mary, the people that should be in hell are actually asleep. they go to kind of a purgatory where they're not conscious. Their consciousness is just kind of in limbo, kind of. And then after a while, I don't know who's in charge of the while, but they wake up and they have a choice and go from there, whether they're going earthbound or if they're going to heaven or, the afterlife or whatever.
I read her books, gosh, must be at least 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But they're very interesting.
Yeah. I can't say that I'm totally on board because, again, she's channeling through somebody who's channeling through her human experience. And,
Right.
So, some of the things she said felt very resonant. Some of the things she said was just kind of like, I don't know. But I'll give it the realm of possibility. But for me right now, this moment, my energy, my experience, that doesn't resonate for me. So,
yeah.
But she
did
did
so many writers out there.
She did predict the fall of money. Now we're seeing this whole digital thing coming to play, in which I don't see that going well. I just don't.
Have you ever read any of, oh gosh, what is his name? Wesselman. Wesselman is his last name.
Wesselman?
Oh, I can't think of, is it Hank? Anyway, he was a professor for the UC system, the university system for California, and he was an anthropologist, I believe. And when he went to a dig in Africa, he and everybody on the dig, and they hired a lot of African people to help them.
Yeah.
All saw spirit like come alive, like literally be right in front of them and dance in front of them.
Oh.
His books are incredible because he saw 5,000. He started seeing 5,000 years. I'm spoiling the book. That it was so fascinating, but 5,000 years into the future.
Wow, that's a lot.
To tell us what we need to be doing now so that future doesn't come true. And it was really fascinating. And I won't say anymore. If anybody reads it, let me know. It's called Spirit Walker and then Medicine Maker. And he's actually a very good writer. It's like I could not put his books down. So that's a very good writer, good author.
Awesome.
So, yeah. And then Rosemary Altea. Have you ever? Very interesting. So. She's been.
Altea sounds familiar, but not the first name.
It's been a long time, but she wrote a book, The Eagle and the Rose, and I think her spirit guide is the eagle. I can't really. I'm not sure about that, everyone. So, but her books, she's been seeing everything and channeling since she was a young girl, and she's probably my age now. Okay. So she's written quite a few books. It's been very interesting. And then Lorna Byrne, I don't know if you've ever read any of her books.
I haven't read, but I've seen her videos, and I know who she is. Yeah. Now, see, there is another person who's raised Catholic, and she sees them as biblical angels. She sees them dressed and, like humans, and talks to them every day, and,
Well, actually, I think the ones that are her protectors that have been, like, she'll talk about Archangel Michael, that he's like 40 feet tall.
Yeah.
And he walks with her. She's in Ireland.
Yeah.
And she can see him, like on the banks of a river, and he walks with her and talks to her and appears to her. But when she was little, a baby, I think under a year old, she was always talking to a sibling that died in childbirth. But she would see it as the person was right in front of her.
Yeah.
And her parents didn't know who she was talking to.
Yeah. That's what you call a super seer. Yeah. Yeah.
And her books, they've been really Angels in My Hair and I can't remember. I've read it.
Angels at My Fingertips or something like that. I don't know. She's got a YouTube channel. So if you look her up,
Yeah, I
she
watch her.
has
Yeah.
she has amazing content. She has amazing stories and insights uh, filtered through her experience with the angels. So, but I totally can relate to the angels being huge because when I was in Belgium, um, it was I don't even know what I was doing. I was doing something, and it came to my awareness that there was something there with me, and it was the first time I had ever felt it. I think it was Metatron, my first experience with him, or was it Melchizedek? Can't really remember the name, but when I was sitting there and I was meditating, I could sense the size of it, and its big toe was taller than I was. And I'm like,
Wow.
so I was just like, okay, you must be an angel because, that's crazy. But I've always heard those stories where angels are ginormous. I mean, just ginormous. I had a person uh, go to me to, what's it called? Mojave Desert, because there's a Mother Mary sighting there. So this was early on. And still don't know if that's for real, but I was kind of in my first awakening, and I was really excited to see if I could feel anything or see anything. But my friend who was standing behind me, she was going through some stuff. She was in addiction, she was an alcoholic, and she was really struggling spiritually and emotionally and physically. And so it was time for the happening. It was always at noon on the 13th. And so we're just all standing there. My mom, my aunt, a neighbor that I grew up with, were all there. And uh, I was just kind of looking around and, because people were going, I'm like, what do they see?
Where were you?
Mojave Desert.
Okay.
And so
because I switched to Medjugorje.
Oh, no, no,
Okay.
no. So I looked behind. I was going to say something to my friend behind me, and she was completely gray, and her mouth. She was just like in awe of something, and I'm like, "What the hell's wrong?" And I could tell she wasn't breathing, and I'm like, "Breathe, breathe."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Don't you see them?" And I'm like, "See what? See what?" She's like, "The angels, the angel with the trumpets." And I'm like,
wow.
"What?" She's like, "They are as big as the horizon." And I'm like,
wow,
holy crap, that's some angel right there. And I'm like, and she drew me a picture of it. I still have it somewhere. But she said it was like they filled up the whole sky. Just one angel. But she said I could see them coming out of the sun like little dots, and they were all just kind of wiggling around, and then finally they came down towards the earth, and they just started circling everybody. And the guy behind her was having the same experience. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? But
wow.
when Mother Mary was supposed to be there, everybody got quiet, but nobody but the seer was able to see her at that point. So I I've always been kind of interested to go back there now and see if I can experience anything different. But
are they still showing up, or
as far as I know, well, now they have a church there, of course, because whenever there's a sighting there,
we're gonna have to
there's
go
always got to be a church, even though
I'm serious.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
California City, Mojave Desert. Yep.
because in Medjugorje it's the same thing. there'd be thousands of people, but only certain people,
Yeah.
saw the Virgin Mary.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think that's true in a lot of the Marian sightings, that she only appears to those that need to see her. I guess it doesn't depend. It doesn't warrant wanting to see her. It's
yeah,
she
for
has
whatever
to-
reason.
Yeah. So yeah, and it was never clear if I don't think that sighting ever was recognized by the church.
I'm
And
going to roll my eyes on that one.
yeah. Let's eye
And
roll, please.
It's not that I don't have, like one time I said something and a lot of people, wrote me and go, you don't believe that was, like, you should pray. And I'm like, no, what I meant to say was, I think a lot of people, when they get on their knees, and we've been doing that for years and years and years, I think that's why a lot of people need knee surgery. So I think that's very archaic to get on the knees of a wooden pew. And a lot of them are padded. I understand that in the Catholic religion.
Yeah.
But, I just look at it like
it is
that
archaic,
to me is
but
archaic.
it is a way of symbolizing their humility. They're willing to do that, and their humility to get some sort of blessing or whatever. But
yes, but I'm not doing it.
It's not up to the individual. It's up to the one coming.
Yeah, so
It's up to the angel, Jesus, John, Mary, whoever it is. It's up to them. But yeah. So, and the lady that was the seer was a married Catholic with children, which a lot of the seer, the people have those experiences are very young, and usually aren't married right off. They may get married later, but this woman, I think, was already in her 40s, married with a few kids, but very devout Catholic. Not to say that she couldn't have that experience. It's just never been documented as being anything but, what she says whether it's true or not. Like I said, it's her experience. She just happens to have a big following of her experience. But okay. So anyway,
So I accidentally sent this to everyone on Facebook that I know in my messenger. I don't know how that happened. I don't know what I did for that to occur.
Uh-oh.
But
oopsie.
Enjoy if you like,
Well, this was an interesting conversation and live, but I think we should call it an end.
Yeah.
And thank you, Lauren, for showing up.
Yes,
And
thank you.
Thank you for anybody else who may be watching. Of course, feel free to comment. Doesn't mean that I'll take it to heart if you're being mean. It is what it is. It's just information. It's just our experience. You can be inclusive in that or exclude yourself from that. It's your choice. But anyway, so everybody have a great Easter weekend, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.